Yours. We have a visitor. One visitor.
Short one so far. Okay. Good enough? All right, it's 1:33, and I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Oklahoma City Traffic and Transportation Commission. I'm Jim Witcher. In the absence of Walt Kula, our chair, I'll preside over the meeting today, and we'll get started with the roll call. I need to call people who are obviously not here. Okay. Commissioner Littlefield, not here. Ward 3 is now vacant. Commissioner Hale?
Here, sir.
Commissioner Sheline?
Here, sir.
Commissioner Jenkins? Commissioner George?
Here.
All right. And if you wish to speak to an item that's on the agenda and you have not done so already, if you wouldn't mind filling out one of these blue sheets, handing it to Sherry. Looks like we've already got people for most of the stuff we have on the agenda. Commissioners have received the minutes from last month's meeting and have had a chance to approve those. Is there a motion to approve those?
I move that the minutes for the February 20th meeting be approved.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Jenkins, seconded by Commissioner Schuline to approve the minutes as submitted. Is there any discussion or questions? Okay. Have your votes. Oh, what do I got to turn on?
Don, do you have a magic switch?
Oh, there we go. All right. Looks like they're approved. All right. Thank you. Report on license taxing and record services quarterly report will happen next month at the April meeting. The consent docket consists of one item. Just present it, or do I need to read what the item is? Okay. All righty. So Rod Phillips of Baptist Children's Home, 16301 Southwestern Avenue in Oklahoma City. Consider a request for the addition of north and southbound stop signs on Southwestern Avenue at Southwest 164th Street. to establish all way stop control. So are there any questions about the consent docket? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent?
I'd like to move approval of the consent docket.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
All right. Commissioner George moved to approve the consent docket. That was seconded by Commissioner Schuline. Any other discussion? All in favor, please, or have your votes, please. All right, looks like it passes with all present. Consent docket. All right, first item for individual consideration. Okay, guess we need to show that.
Weather and parking is a real issue today.
All right, Commissioner Littlefield is with us now. For items of individual consideration, item 5A, Oklahoma City Police Department. Consider the temporary establishment of an open taxi stand on the east side of North Robinson Avenue between West Main and West Sheridan Avenue, beginning approximately 45 feet south of West Main Street and extending to the south approximately 290 feet. I don't see that there's any individuals that wish to speak to this item. Staff report?
Okay. What's being presented today is a temporary measure to address open cab stand needs expressed by the taxi industry. As submitted, the proposed new cab stand will encumber basically the east side of Robinson, pretty much for the full block between Sheridan and Main Street. The only parking space that will not be affected will be an inset handicap space at the very south end of the block. Just to let you know, the Traffic Management Division is in the process of preparing a comprehensive parking, passenger loading, commercial loading, open taxi stand, open carriage stand, reserved parking for the physically disabled, bus stop, and government use parking plan for the downtown and core area. And these will be in the areas that are physically within the limits of Project 180 and on streets that are also that are immediately adjacent to it that are being affected by that project. So as a temporary interim measure, staff recommends approval of the request as submitted. As proposed, the stand will have capacity for at least 11 taxis. The final disposition of this temporary open taxi stand will be subject to the public vetting process that will be used as we develop consensus for the parking plan that we are putting together that will best serve the needs of those who live and work in the downtown area.
Okay. So is there a motion on this item?
I move we approve, sir.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, moved by Commissioner Schuline to approve, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion? I'd like to, there's no kind of time limit on this temporary thing. Do you have a wild guess, Stuart, about when we drop the other shoe on this?
No, at this point in time. The reason being, Project 180 is about 60% complete now. So what we're working towards right now is to try and develop a parking plan which will allow the city to utilize like the new multimeters that are supposed to be going in on the time-limited, the metered parking spaces. So we're just in the process of developing a comprehensive plan. So it's not, we have no definite means of knowing how long this might persist. And it may be in the future that this stand goes away entirely in favor of something new or elsewhere within Project 180, or may just be amended so that it only represents a couple spaces on this block. Time will tell on that.
All right. All right, so I have a motion to approve this and seconded. Are we ready to cast a vote? All right, let's have your votes. Thanks. It approves unanimously. Okay, our second item, number 5B. Get down to this thing. Clyde Wilkins, a professional engineer with Kuhn Engineering, 2832 West Wilshire Boulevard, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Consider the installation of a mid-block pedestrian crossing on North Beverly Drive, approximately 250 feet north of Northeast 50th Street. Clyde, do you want to come up and speak to this?
Thank you.
Clyde, if you would, go ahead and state your name and address for the record.
Clyde Wilkins, and my business address is 2832 West Wilshire in Oklahoma City.
Thank you.
Clever Smith Bodie is the architect for the old Surety office building at that corner, and you've probably seen this in your packet. Old Surety owns a piece of property on the east side of Beverly for their office building, but they own a larger piece of property on the west side of Beverly for their parking lot. So this would seem to be the best way to get employees from the office building to the parking lot.
Staff report.
Okay, you've got our complete comments before you. Approval of a requested mid-block pedestrian crossing is at the discretion of the commission. If approved, all roadway alterations will be subject to the applicant or the parties they represent bearing the responsibility for the preparation of the construction drawings and bearing the construction costs, and making sure that the crossing is in full compliance with the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The city will install pedestrian crossing warning signs and pavement markings as needed in accordance with the MUTCD upon acceptance of the sidewalk and any needed ramp improvements.
All right. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that the issue be approved.
Okay, Commissioner Jenkins moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Hale seconded the motion. Does the commission have any questions for Mr. Wilkins or any other discussion?
I just have one concern, that Beverly Street will be an open street.
It will remain open, and it has very little traffic, so it might be just the ideal spot for a walkway.
Right. Yeah, previous to your construction, there had been a sign up that said, "Do not enter," and I think that was probably from the mobile unit, mobile housing.
That could be, I'm not aware of that, but yeah. The new layout with the walkway should work perfectly.
All right, any other discussion?
I just have another, just for my clarification, you said who's paying for this? The city is painting the crosswalk and putting up lights?
Signs.
Signs?
Yeah, we'll mark
And
with-
then the company will there be any flashing lights, or is it, I know it's kind of a, maybe not needed there.
Right. Well, their request is for a mid-block pedestrian crossing, and
Right.
and those crossings have to be approved through the commission.
Right.
The use of flashing lights would be an optional type thing. This street has got a posted limit of 25 miles an hour, so it's typically not used. In a situation like this, the reason why the city will stripe the road and install the pedestrian crossing warning signs right at the crosswalk is because ultimately the city will maintain those,
Right.
and once we have installation records on those, it eases maintenance for us in the future as to when to schedule it, or if there's ever a knockdown and there's a report of a missing sign, we'll have something in our database.
Okay, so when you said that they'll bear the cost of doing this, except for that, what else is there? The curb cuts for handicap access, other than that, or?
I'll defer to Mr. Wilkins to fill you in on the details.
There actually are no curbs on that street on Beverly, so it's just a sidewalk to the asphalt. Now, the owner is going to replace the asphalt roadway section with stamped colored concrete, 8-inch thick, just so that it will be there for a long time.
Okay. Actually across where the crosswalk will be?
Yes.
Will that take another act from this body to get that done?
I don't believe so.
No, the only thing that they'll do is once their mid-block crossing is approved, then their private development plans for making alterations to a public city street can be approved through Public Works.
All right, thanks.
Commissioners, are you ready to vote? All right, let's have your votes on this item. Looks like
Thank you
it's
very much.
Approved unanimously. Thank you. Our item 5C, we have a request from the applicant to defer this until our next meeting. And so I suppose, do I need to read this? Go ahead and read this so that we can have a... Okay. All right. So Mark Grubbs, P.E., Grubbs Consulting, LLC, Consider changing speed limit on Northeast 63rd Street between North Martin Luther King Avenue and North Bryant Avenue from 40 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour. And as I said, the applicant has requested this be deferred to the next meeting. So is there a motion on the deferred?
I'd make that motion to continue this to the next
Okay.
meeting.
Commissioner George.
Item
and-
C.
I'm sorry, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, Commissioner George motion and Commissioner Jenkins seconded to defer until next month. And can I have your votes? Passed unanimously to defer. All right. All right, comments from citizens. I see no citizens, so I guess there's no comments. And then we'll have reports and other items. I think this is where we go around the horseshoe and see if there's commissioners have any reports that they'd like to make. Commissioner Littlefield.
Yes, I do. I apologize for being late. I could not get in that parking lot to save my life.
I know.
And I'm way over by the music hall, so I did the best I could. I've been reporting over the past couple of months about traffic challenges on Northwestern Avenue, 56th, 57th, and 58th Streets. And that seems to have been resolved very nicely and well on its way to getting some solutions. Each city councilman was awarded $1 million from the city to use for resurfacing projects. And Councilman Shadid asked for a resolution to be considered, which passed, to appropriate that $1 million to go back into the Western Avenue Streetscape Fund to accomplish the higher cost elements that are going to solve the problems on that corridor, with essentially most of the money is going to be going to a fifth center turn lane and a street light at Lombardi Western and a street light at 55th and Western. And there are probably some elements in that. There's a no right on red at Grand, Western, and probably a couple of other elements that will come before this commission as things start to go into place. So that's good news. And on a new front, at the southeast corner of Northwest 50th and Western Avenue, there used to be a Conoco filling station there. Chesapeake has acquired those properties, and apparently there's a plan to develop possibly a fairly good-sized vehicular service station project. I myself and Planning Commissioner Janice Powers have both been contacted by neighborhood leaders and citizens and businesses in that area with concern of how that entity, if it should develop, the impact it would have on traffic. So we're in the grassroots efforts of getting those people together, getting the developer to agree to come to a meeting and share what it is that they're doing. What makes it all interesting is that the whole traffic situation on this corridor is impacted by the Western Avenue Streetscape Plan. So we think we get something in position and then a new development comes and we have to look at it again. But that's what's going on where I live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Schuline. Commissioner Jenkins. Commissioner George, okay. Report from staff on new yield sign installations.
Okay, you've got a report that indicates we've had one installed over at Southeast 86th and Jade Way. You also notice in your package that we have a letter back from ODOT. A while back, the commission had approved stop signs on the I-44 frontage roads where they intersected with Southwest 119th Street and Southwest 134th. The ones at Southwest 119th Street have been installed. The ones at 134th Street could not be installed because 134th is an intersecting state highway. It's also State Highway 37. So the state has looked at it, and they've come to terms with installing stop signs at one end of the bridge, but they're leaving the other side alone, which is, I think, on the side where a new hospital has been constructed. So their assessment and their decision on the recommendations or the stop control as approved through the commission are summarized in that letter for you. So that's just for your information.
Looks like I blundered right over municipal counselor's office. Jill, anything to Okay. And Stuart, is there anything else that you guys have for us? All right.
No, that'll be it.
Well, I guess I can entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
Thank you very much. I think that concludes this meeting.